Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to a new series I'm trying out for the Born to be Wild listener series. If you don't know, the Born to be Wild listener series is a 5-week Wild Hearthstone League tournament league match style league thing. That. What makes Born to be Wild special is that each week there is a deck building restriction, which is great because this way I don't have to verse the same neckbeard sweaty decks that I see month to month in the depths of despair that is 10x Wild Hearthstone. People got to use their head a little, get a little creative, and all in all, we get to have a fun, cool experience playing some Hearthstone. Anyway, because I'm such an absolute stud of a gamer, just built a bit different really, I decided that I should compete in this because it would be free money. And who could turn that down? So I signed up, hopped into Discord, and got ready to play. Week 1 comes around, and look, the league is scared of me already. Out of every competitor in the whole thing, they decided that I should be the one that gets a week 1 bye. And that includes last season's winner, which is kind of weird. Shouldn't he get the bye? Well, no. Obviously, I deserve it, right? Yes. Yeah. 5 points, 3-0. Week 1. We take that. Yeah. Let's go. Moving on to week 2, the real competition begins. And boy, did I get an easy opponent in week 2. I mean, I might as well have been another bye week. I'm in danger. So for week 1, I didn't bother mentioning the deck restriction because I didn't even make decks. I didn't have to play. I just swept right into a bye. Clearly deserved. But for week 2, we get the deck back into deck building. And let me tell you, it's kind of nerve-wracking. One wrong card, you're DQ'd. But I got it. I figured it out. Safe on that front at the very least. Week 2's deck restrictions is very, very simple. You need at least 15 minions, and only certain sets are allowed. If you look over there, you can see in yellow the sets that we were allowed to build from. Everything else was not allowed. So we were pretty restricted in what archetypes we were able to do. And it became very clear that it was kind of be like mostly an archetype with some filler cards, or like an archetype with just less good cards. But all in all, not too terribly bad decks. This hand stinks, dude. What the heck, man? Gonna play tracking end 1. Hope to find a 2-drop. Nope, not. I picked it instantly, but that's not the 2-drop I was looking for. Not even a little. And then, 2 seconds into this game, don't have a minion on 1 or 2. And, I just rip a Leok here, and I'm thinking, might have to pack this one up and head home. Because my deck, if you look at his deck and my deck, his deck very, very similar, but he's got a lot more late game, like a lot of late game finishers in his deck. He's got like the core Alex and stuff. And so I'm kind of thinking in my head, I need to win this in the first 8 or 9 turns. And so this starts a bit rough, but you know what? I hold strong, and I make the only decision this game that really mattered, and the correct one at that. I played this darn Desert Spear. Oh man, am I happy I did that over the Stormhammer. I didn't really have a great reason to do it other than that it added up to 2 and Stormhammer was 3, and I'd rather send Stormhammer face anyway. And boy, am I glad I did, because this Varanus, which I rejected in the tracking, has showed back up in my hand, and it's just glorious. But I'm still not feeling too hot about this game because I'm playing from behind, like, the entire time so far, and he has more late game than me. Like, my deck is very early-ish curve feeling because I played it on ladder, right? And Wild Hearthstone games are over in 4 turns, so you can't be playing 9 drops. But I was worried in this matchup, the mirror, that my game... Oh my gosh, is she doing it? Is he taking 7? I just hit this man with 7 damage. Oh! Oh! And I get to play Bran on basically an empty board? Things are looking up for me. I went from a Leok on 3 to this man at 10 on turn 7. Suddenly, I'm thinking in my head, wait a minute. If I hit him with this 8, he's at 10. And I have 6 in hand plus a hero power, which is 8. If he plays his brand after I play my brand, I'll have 8 damage plus the 2 from the Dino Tamer, and that's 10. I was ecstatic. I said, oh, well, he's probably not going to play the brand, though. And then the Snap plays it. Oh, my gosh. And from his point of view, it's fair. I mean, you got to do it, right? You got to kill my King Crush. I Leoked on turn 3, and somehow I won this game in 2 turns. I don't really know what happened. I was so ecstatic. I took the biggest windup. I mean, look at that Stormhammer. I went all the way around to Mars and back. I was not misclicking today, baby. Let's go. Starting out with a victory in game 1. We take those. We absolutely take those. I have no business winning any games here. Let's go. Let's do this. Going into game 2, I was not expecting to win this game. Because the way Last Hero Standing works, the format of this tournament, league match, is that when you win with a deck, you must play it again. And so I knew going into this matchup, really this match, that he was probably going to pick Paladin. Because Paladin go real wide, and I don't have a way to deal with lots of wide stuff. I really don't. It's just not a good look for me. But, you know, it is fine, right? Because on the plus side, I have defeated his Hunter deck, so he can't queue that anymore. And I think his Hunter deck could probably beat, like, my Rogue deck. Or my Warlock deck. Or my Hunter deck. So, yeah, I mean, beating that deck is exciting. But as a result, I don't get to choose what I play in this one. So he gets to pick the good matchup, which is just like, you know, that makes sense. In the mulligan, I kept 3 of the low-end cards that, like, were kind of like the best I had at dealing with stuff. But in hindsight, well, not in hindsight, I knew going in, but in reality, I needed, like, 7 Unleash the Hounds to win this game, about, give or take. Because he's just going to constantly play 2-1s, 1-1s, and stuff. And here, I'm thinking about not unleashing the Hounds, because it's going to feel really bad when I unleash the Hounds, and then he suddenly has the same exact board just summoned from the dormant minion. But if I let those 3 live and he gets 3 more and then he plays a Cold Light Seer here, I don't ever win. Like I just lose on the spot. So it's like I felt like I had to play the Unleash the Hounds there. And then obviously every turn for the rest of the game I missed the Unleash the Hounds, but I mean what are you going to do, right? I just kind of have to play cards and hope for the best. This game is this matchup's super ugly. I feel like I just don't have any. I needed my Desert Spear, I guess, was the second best card I could have had. Desert Spear here would have been insane. Maybe I should have not kept the Fairy Dragon or the Scale Rider so I could look for Desert Spear. That was probably correct in hindsight. But, I mean, this game, there really isn't reason to show much of this game. He just kind of played a bunch of Murlocs really wide and just kind of killed me. Let's move on to the next game where anything interesting happens at all. All right, moving on to game 3 here. We've got him staying on his Paladin and me switching to my Rogue. I didn't really love either of my matchups here, if we're being honest. His deck's got a lot of small 1/1s and things that kind of just destroy both of my decks, I imagined. But I figured, hey, maybe we use the Rogue hero power to clear some of that up and we erase him. And so I chose to do just that. I didn't love this hand, you know, but I decided to just embrace not having a hand and top decking every single turn from turn 2 onward. I mean, what could really go wrong? So I just full sent. The one advantage I knew going into this with knowing his deck is that he has no way to remove my minions that aren't his own minions. He has no removal. He has only minions. So if he's ever behind, he can't clear my minions. So I'm just going to embrace the really, really simple Hearthstone philosophy. Minions face, weapon, minions. And I just literally the entire game plan on sending all of my minions face and using my dagger to protect those minions so that they can hit face again. Because I figured to win this game, that Spy Mistress there needs to do about 12 damage. just a nice, calm 12 damage. And hell, so far it's working out. This Eviscerate's top deck was a little rough, but like this dagger's putting in a lot of work because every time it kills a minion, that guarantees another hit from one of my alive minions because the only removal he has in his deck is a weapon, which still hits his face. So I know that, like on this turn, for example, I'm guaranteed 4 damage face the turn after. And he's getting kind of close to lethal. So I keep up the plan. It's worked so far. Minions face. And then weapon to the minion. I thought about this for way longer than I probably should have, but I realized, oh wait, he has no removal. So if I clear this 3/3, I'm guaranteed one of these 2/1s to be able to hit face next turn, which with this Eviscerate is lethal. Because there is no way, barring Murloc random generation, that he can remove both of these 2/1s or put a taunt in the way. So by sacrificing my 1 damage from my weapon, I gain an extra by protecting a minion in play. And so as long as I top deck a card I can play to activate this Eviscerate, I'm guaranteed lethal. And that's every card in my deck, because if I draw Leroy, which I can't play with Eviscerate, it just does enough damage anyway. So I don't know. I don't know how I won this game. I played like 5-2-1s and they all hit him in the face twice. I guess that's just good enough. I guess it's just good enough. All right. Game 4, dude. This is, believe it or not, this is match point. If I win this game, I win it all, which, if you couldn't tell before, would be an upset in, I think, everybody's eyes. Oh, God, he played a 1/1 with Divine Shield. How's my dagger supposed to deal with that? At least he can deal with the Cable Rat. I will say, a little spoiler, a lot of cards are played, although I don't think that's much of a spoiler when you see my hand. I played a lot of cards, he played a lot of cards, lots of lackeys, lots of things are happening in this game. And so there's a lot harder to cut out stuff from this game, and, you know, because it happened later, like each game that happens later, I remember less about, so I'm kind of taking another look at it here for the first time. Pretty straightforward so far, minion 1, dagger on 2, evil miscreant stuff on 3, and probably 4, and probably 5, and probably 6 if I had to take a wild guess, but we shall see. I planned on this turn being Coin Miscreant, Shadowstep Miscreant, but then I got this 2-drop Lackey, which I feel like it's just always good to play early, like it just can only get worse. Also, am I crazy, or does that Lackey summon that exact 2/3 like 40% of the time? No, is that just me? I feel like when I played it, I saw it, and I just assumed that was normal. I feel like I always get that 2/3. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, with this game, it's like it's like his zoo version compared to mine is a lot more egg based as well as lackey based. So he's got a lot of 1/1s, got a lot of low cost, just cheap, low attack things. And so maybe I should have played this like I played the Murloc game where I just tried to erase him. But I mean, who plays the same deck in back-to-back games with the same game plan? I mean, currently a crazy person would do that. So, you know, I decided we'd switch it up. We'd go for this full lackey board-centric route. And, you know, maybe it could have worked, but so far it's not. I'm struggling to get board tempo and keep up with him. And he has life tap. So unless I can generate so much value from my lackeys, I'm going to eventually lose this war. Here I did think for a lot about, like, I had a lot of these yellow cards that looked tempting. I didn't know what to play. I decided I want to evolve that. And then here, in hindsight, I probably should have kept that 4/2 because it's just like card draw, and that's really good. But in my head, it was only 2 health, and I really would prefer like a Yeti type minion because I didn't seem good enough. Maybe I'm just saying that in hindsight because I got a 3/3 as my 5-drop. What the heck is that? But also, if I'm playing for board, I think I made several misplays on that turn. I probably also should have used this last minion, right? Not spending mana is gross. I deserve to lose for that. What was I thinking? I think I ran out of time, honestly. And at this point, the game starts to sink. I mean, this dude's got a 4/8 taunt, and he's getting his egg into play. His board is suddenly massively tall and wide. And I have a 5-drop. That's a 3/3. Ah! But yeah, While I am playing this at 200 speed, it was hard to cut out dead space. There's just a lot of actions in this game. I was like doing my best to scam or to like in some way win this game because it was match point. But I think the line I took was probably not ideal because I don't think I ever win this on board or resource base. I probably should have smorked and tried to do it that way. But he did have, I don't remember his exact deck list, but it was not as uninteractive as the Murloc one. So I just kind of assumed that Miscreant was my best route to like beat him in the Lackey game because my Lackeys were better. And while my Lackeys were better, the rest of his deck, like Voidwalker, for instance, was better than the rest of my deck. So the like having the 2 Miscreants wasn't enough of an edge because he had these huge eggs and stuff that I couldn't deal with. But I kept trying. You know, theoretically, like, I'm a stealth minion away from prolonging the game to either a victory or a loss, right? Because it's great. Like, I could draw 4 cards if I draw a stealth minion. So I'm sticking in there, but this was brutal. I mean, he gets a random Dragon Lackey, and it gives him a 6/6. I'm getting a bunch of, like, evolved stuff that's hitting 5-mana 3/3s. It's like, not great. Trade in there, get some more Lackeys. Still no Dragon Lackey. Still just kind of not enough size. At this point, I've accepted defeat in terms of the board, and I say, I just got to kill the guy. I'm never killing the 6/6. So now I got to race, which is pretty silly when I could have raced before he had a 6/6. You know, don't you think if you had a choice to race a 6/6 or race before they have a 6/6, you'd choose before? I don't know, but here it's like I finally get to send a 1/1 face, and I just felt alive. So I just wanted to keep sending 1/1's face. But yeah, I mean, another brutal turn. He plays a 5/5 with Rush that conveniently kills my 5-mana 4/4. Do 5-mana minions suck? Am I crazy? Unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, I'm just like, you know, 1/1 into 5/1 because I can't really send my face because I'll die to the 6/6 and just send as much damage as I can face. But it's all about lost here. You know, taunt up to maybe save some life. I even used the instead of the 1/1 on play, I used the Rush Lackey because I wanted to get that 1 extra damage face because that was my only hope. You know, like right here, I need to type like a stealth minion into like Dread Corsair and like a charge minion or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this taunt just killed me as well as 4 minions. It's really brutal. Sets up lethal. I found the stealth minion, which was kind of pog, but I didn't do enough. I found 1 line that kept me alive here. There may be more than one, but I think there's only 1, and it sucked. It felt terrible. But there was only 1 way I saw to not have lethal on board. I think it was weapon plus the buff to the 2/4, 1/1s to the 2/1s, everything else to the 6/6, and it's just, he's just like, he basically has to play anything, and I'm dead. But yeah, I think I said minion face and everything else to the 6/6 and those there. Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. In hindsight, maybe I should have smorked, but I don't really know how you win the smork game. I don't know. This I was pretty happy to win with this rogue deck at all. I think this is probably my weakest deck in my head going in, but it actually isn't that bad. I mean, it got 1 win. It's more than most decks can say in this format, right? All right, the big old game 5. Now, not only is it game point for me again, but it is game point for him. We've got the Warlock Mirror, and he has a Scrap Imp on 2. So his lower to the ground, smaller 1/1 egg resilient minion build is now about to become a small, cheap, but tall, also minion-based deck. Why exactly did I not run Scrap Imp? Huh. That's gonna hurt. But for now, we'll try to get some early tempo and hope that we can survive the initial wave that is the Scrap Imp. Because, oh no. This man just played 2 Boulder Fist Ogres, bro. How do I compete with that? Those are 6 sevens, dude. They're supposed to be 4 sixes disguised as O2s. Now they're 6 sevens disguised as 2 threes. Oh my, a 3/7? Dude, I don't think I deal 7 damage like to a minion ever. Like that's so big. He just turned 5, and look at his board. Everything's at 1 life. He's had efficient value trades. He's got a big scrap imp. Oh, this is not looking good. Also, half my hand says discard. Bro, this is I'm not feeling too good about this one. From where I was when I was 2-1, the momentum, the the momentum appears to have shifted a little. And my deck building skills are starting to get punished a little for, questionable decisions such as Fellstalker and not running eggs and scrap imps and lackeys and stuff. And instead running discards and hurt yourself minions. I mean, it's a different kind of deck, right? It's like Curse Stone, play big minion that are good statted. But it doesn't really work when your whole hand suicides your rest of your hand. In hindsight, the deck is like okay, but if I had play tested it like maybe once, I would have noticed, hey, little too much discard, little too much finisher damage, like double Soulfire, double Power Overwhelming, double Doomguard. Maybe too much. Maybe you should put some actual like minions and like ways to win the board first before you can play finishers and kill your opponent. At this point, I think like if this wasn't a ranked game, I would probably concede. Or if this was a ranked game, I'd probably concede. Here I'm saying never getting board back, on the dude face. Maybe I'll top deck another one. And then maybe I'll top deck Kendrathad and get 2 more and somehow kill him. I mean, it would be a scam because I'd first have to get a Kendrathad even lock in my deck. So that would require a turn still to draw and have die. And it looks like I'm on a 2-turn clock. I'm not going to do the math, but his board is big and wide. And he's got a 7/5 rush lackey. I think I zoned out in the game. I'd kind of checked out. That's insane. He just rushed my Doomguard with a 7/5 rush lackey. Are you having a laugh? Ugh. This game was a slaughter. I mean, I think it's to be expected. I mean, all of his decks were just slightly better tuned than mine were, which, you don't know. What are you going to do? I think it's to be expected that the person who actually plays Hearthstone would win. Huh. Would you look at that? The person who actually plays Hearthstone won. Imagine that. I mean, that's crazy. Who would have thought that the guy who actually plays and stream Wild Hearthstone would win a Wild Hearthstone competition?